Another limited banner gone, so time for another video covering the next 6 months of banners and which operators are best to pull. I'll walk you through the banner schedule over the next 6 months, including limited banners, new standard operator releases, and gold certificate operators. Let's explore the next 6 months of banners. There are a lot of banners appearing over the next 6 months, as usual, even excluding the standard banners every 2 weeks. Thankfully, we have a bit of a break from top priority units before a stacked schedule begins once again. We start with a top line overview of the forthcoming new 6-star operators, as they are the primary focus of most players. Then I will go more granular and fit them in the release timeline alongside any reruns and other special banners. The break from top priority units for a few months begins with Ebenholz. Once you see what's in store over the next few months, you'll be grateful. Unfortunately, Ebenholz doesn't fix the archetype issues of charge casters. Having an enemy stay in range, which prevents charging, just cripples that damage. Even with his skill 3, that allows you to ignore weak enemies, is still not quite enough unless he can one-shot the enemies with a full charge. The ideal is he charges to full, enemy walks in range, he one-shots them. Then he charges to full, one-shots the next one. But those circumstances are rare. Generally more useful with skill 2, which is a pulling arts damage version of W's stun mines. He's by far the weakest of the upcoming 6 stars, despite his damn awesome design. Dorothy is the first 6-star trapper. She's quite versatile for the archetype. You can either shred enemy defense, have a long bind, or you can play Bomberman with a chain of explosive traps. She's a solid operator, though the core purpose of the archetype, which is just putting down traps to halt enemies or to capture towers, as seen in the likes of Twilight of Welmont, is fulfilled by any trapper, including the free one, Robin. So she's more of a luxury pick. Now for a string of powerhouse units. Here we have Gavial the Invincible, an excellent unit. She's an AoE guard with 2 key abilities. The first allows her to pull units to herself from 3 lanes wide while holding the front line. Her other key skill, skill 3, provides a large boost to attack power, attack speed, and has her block 5 enemies. Remember, she's an AoE guard, so she's hitting 5 enemies at once, at double speed. Furthermore, she takes half damage for that duration of the skill, with that absorbed damage dealt over time after the skill ends. A tanky killing machine. What's not to love? She doesn't replace Blaze, as Blaze still has her unique extended range. In fact, the 2 of them in a lane are an overpowered combo. Poziomka, my favorite of the Ideal City event. She's the non-limited of Gavial's banner, and is in the same class as Schwartz, except with a turret that you can place anywhere and copies her skills. This turret makes Poziomka, in effect, a global range operator. You are encouraged though to keep the turret close by, as it will be stronger, but the global possibilities are endless. Her damage with skills active is incredible, especially with that turret nearby. A must pull. A note of Posey versus Schwartz. While Posey is definitely stronger, Schwartz still has her place with the longer range and fast redeploy. Better yet, use both of them together in the same line. They will be best friends forever. Moina, my arch nemesis, and probably the most powerful upcoming unit to Arknights. Moina is a combination of Silver Ash, Helliger, and Hoshiguma. His second skill is akin to Helliger's second skill and designed to hold lane against single enemies. Where he truly shines and blows minds is that skill 3, imitating Silver Ash's swing for devastating damage. Overall, he is stronger than Silver Ash. However, the old Silver Leopard still has a few advantages. Silver Ash is still better at deployment into a quick skill, whereas Moina needs to charge first. Silver Ash also has a slightly wider range and can hit invisible enemies. Moina's advantage is higher damage, more frequent activations, and he has built-in damage reflection like Hoshiguma's second skill. Not just for himself, but the whole Kazimierz faction. Much like Posey and Schwartz, Moina and Silver Ash are an overpowered combo. Either you double sweep, or you sweep back to back to back to back. Operator desirability drops when it comes to Stainless compared to the previous 3. However, he is the best of the upcoming utility picks. Skill 1 boosts ally attack power, Skill 2 provides considerable SP charge to allies, and Skill 3 is a damaging turret. The first 2 skills are self-explanatory and great at augmenting allies. That third skill is the wild card. It isn't simply a turret like Posey's Typewriter or a range summon. To fire the turret, allies need to attack it. This may sound like a negative, but it gives allies something to attack while there are no enemies around. You can charge up the likes of Thorns while also acting as a range extender. Very interesting operator. Then we come to the following limited event in Siracusa, featuring the limited operator Texas the Ometosa. Another must-pull unit. She is a 6-star fast redeploy, combining Project Red and Phantom. Best of all, her focus is arts damage. Even if her damage was only on the level of red, merely being an arts fast redeploy would be good enough. Add on Phantom's power to her skill 2, repeated AoE stun to her skill 3, and a skill reset on kill, and you have one overpowered unit. Penance accompanies Texas as the standard 6-star of the limited banner. She is most similar to Mudrock, but with a focus on arts damage and barriers instead of shields. Like all enmity units, she's powerful right up until she meets an enemy she can't handle, and falters because allies can't heal her. Penance's specialty is a stream of light to moderate enemies. No more than 3 at once though, so she doesn't leak, and the occasional wave of big enemies. I find the biggest trouble with her is the skill charge time. Without her skill up, she can't handle big enemies. They simply eat through her barrier too quickly. And since she charges by taking hits, there are only so many attacks she can eat before you need that skill for the big barrier boost and damage. Because she relies on barrier rather than shields, she can't take those massive hits like Mudrock can. On the other hand, she deals with everything else so easily. She feels immortal. Her innate damage reflection can even mean dead range units without having to swing the gavel. A great unit, but Texas is the priority of the banner. Blemishine is her best friend. When her skill is swinging, the power is impressive. Now, to put these new operators in the release timeline alongside any other special banners. Though we've had a flip of the latest contingency contract and Undertide's rerun compared to how they ran in China, it doesn't actually affect the banner order so far. I'm going to assume the order of the rest is the same for global as it was in China. I will be streaming these events as well as pulls, including viewer pulls on Twitch. Do come and join at twitch.tv/DrVulk as I stream multiple times a week. The Moina incident shall not be repeated. We start with the Joint Operations 6 banner for Contingency Contract 9. Excellent banner for new players, especially if you didn't start with Exia. From the starter banner, every account wants Calcit, Exia, and Mountain. Veteran players are likely to only be missing Calcit. Exia is in the Gold Store rotation and Mountain is going to debut soon, so you can guarantee him with gold certificates. Emenholtz releases for Lingering Echoes. Emenholtz doesn't fix the archetype issues of Chargecaster's cool design and theme, but definitely the weakest of the upcoming 6 stars. Then there's Dorothy with Dorothy's Vision. Trapper with options, fun to use, and definitely much stronger than other trappers, but any trapper can fulfill the core function. Gavial and Posey are on the limited banner for the Ideal City of Endless Summer event, which should arrive in January, maybe February 2023. Poziomka with her turret acting like a global outlet for her skills has massive potential as well as her massive damage. Gavial is a supercharged AoE guard with triple lane holding or 5 block and temporary immortality. Temporary near immortality, I should say. Both of these units are excellent. And do note, the Legacy Limited on this is Summer Chen, the only Legacy Limited on this banner. A very good candidate for 300 pulls if you want to guarantee her on that 300 spark purchase. We have the Joint Operations 7 banner for Contingency Contract 10. This is the weakest Joint Ops banner we've had in ages. Bagpipe and Passenger are highly recommended. Bagpipe and Passenger are the easiest ones to buy from this banner, so no recommendation. It might be worth going if you have none of the 4, but even then, considering all the other banners that are on the way, I would skip this one. Especially when you've got Moinar's release for the Obscure Wanderer mini event. He is a must pull. Also, there is no rerun of this solo banner. He doesn't release with a new chapter either, so we don't know if we will get that Joint Op style retrospective banner either. And speaking of the retrospective banner, this is it. This banner brings together 3 standard units that released with chapters 8, 9, and 10. You can't pull any other 6-star on this banner, so it's a 33% chance of each on a 6-star pull. Highly recommended if you're missing all 3. Strong recommendation if you're still missing 2. If just missing 1, only go if you really want that unit. it does have better odds of getting that one particular unit than a standard banner. Note that Mudrock will be in the gold certificate store a few weeks before this. Then we've got Stainless's release with episode 11, a unit of great flexibility. It's just unfortunate that he's wedged between two must-pull releases, including the Texas and Penance banner for the Sirakusano limited event. Texas must pull for that big arts damage and fast redeploy archetype. Penance not as desired, but still great, akin to a Mudrock with arts damage. The legacy limited units of this banner are W, Rosmontis, damn you, Radiant Earl, and Corrupt Skadi. Corrupt Skadi, Radiant Earl are, in my opinion, two must-haves for every account. So if you are thinking of going 300 pulls, this is another great banner. And most players will not be able to go 300 on two limited banners in a row, so you might have to make a decision. Then we've got the Joint Operations 8 banner for Contingency Contract 11. By the time this banner releases, most of the best units in the game will have featured on a Joint Ops banner at some point. Anyone missing is too new. Therefore, we are starting to get some reappearances. For anyone watching this video close-ish to release, you are unlikely to find value in this banner unless you're missing 3 or 4 of these and pull none by then. Firetooth, Golden Glow, and Suzu are 3 of my favorite units, and I recommend them to everyone. It's a strong utility operator banner, but not a top priority one. I'll now create a tier list of sorts for the value and importance of each banner to give some focus on what to prioritize. This is just a general guide. Do note that both the power and availability of a unit is considered. We start with the Joint Operations banner featuring Skadi, Calcit, Exia, and Mountain. While there's plenty of great units here, you can easily acquire most of them through gold certificates. So you're unlikely to pull on this one. However, if you don't have the gold certificates and you're missing everyone, then it is a fantastic banner. Ebenholtz, weakest of the upcoming 6 stars, easy put down into the low tier. Dorothy, a medium tier unit, fun to use, good utility, good for those who like to micromanage units. Then we've got the limited banner with Posey and Gavial. 2 excellent units. Absolutely, you must pull on this banner for at least one of them. At least one, ideally both. Then we've got the weakest Joint Operations banner in a while. Easy skip. Then we've got Moina, the best upcoming solo banner, an absolute must pull. You really, really should try and get him and hope that you don't put too many pulls, because then shortly afterwards you've got possibly a need to roll on the story retrospective banner with Horn, Salech, and Mudrock. A high priority banner if you're missing all 3. Obviously that priority goes down the more you have. Then we've got Stainless, probably the best of that mid-tier pool of banners. However, because of how stacked things are on either side of him, you're likely going to have to skip him even if you do want him. But you never know. And he is recommended if you can afford it. Because then afterwards we do have another limited banner with some excellent units, including the must-pull limited Texas. Penance is also great, but the priority of this banner really is Texas. And then lastly, we've got the other Joint Ops banner further down the line with a bunch of great utility power picks. However, by this point, you are likely to have too many of the units on this banner to be worth pulling here. I want to keep in mind that these tiers are to help you make decisions on prioritizations. You can't go for everything unless you are a whale, though even the lowest banners do have value. That high tier isn't as crowded as usual, thankfully, so we won't need to zoom in this time. The lowest priority of the 4 high banners is the Horn, Salech, Mudrock one. The other 3 are must pulls. The medium area is a little overcrowded. Your priority will simply be based on what you're missing from Joint Ops, or if you want to focus on the new units. Stainless is the best of those 4. So if you can swing for one, I recommend that banner. And the lows are skips for all but the most dedicated players to those units. With everything considered so far, let's go through example timelines of which banners you would pull on over the next 6 months, depending on what you prioritize. I'm going to assume you have none or almost none of the operators discussed so far. Adjust as needed to fit your roster, targets, and of course, your gacha luck. First up, someone whose priority is securing those evasive limited operators. For all Joint Ops banners, pull as you see fit based on what you're missing. Probably only go for it if you're missing everyone. You have an easy time until the next limited banner, skipping everything along the way, until you must pull for Gavial and Posey. I recommend going for both. If you get Gavial though, and it's looking like Posey is taking too many pulls, you can hold back and hope for her in the future. Keep pulls from Waynar rather than going all in for Posey. His one solo banner is your best chance at him. He isn't limited, but even a limited banner licker should pull him. Hope he doesn't take everything, because then you have Texas and Penance in the following limited banner. Feel free to stop once you secure Texas if Penance hasn't arrived and you are low on a random. The 3 months of Gavial to Texas is high value season. You're going to be going all in on 3 banners most likely, so be sure to save. Solo banner players have a more interesting schedule this time, where banners aren't as stacked together for you compared to the previous 6 months. Remember, the limited banners still have lots of free pulls, so you should collect your free pulls and then throw in a little extra until you get at least 1 6-star. It is worth it. I highly recommend going for Posey if you don't care for limited units. As always, we skip all joint ops since I assume you have too many of them already when they ran solo. Interestingly, we have no solo reruns over the next 6 months. It's all new, baby. As for the solo banners themselves, Waynar is top priority here, no contest. The other 3 are situational or utility picks. Of those, Stainless is the best. Thankfully, he's after Waynar, so you'll know if you can afford him. Dorothy will be easier to afford as a solo banner straddler if you didn't spend much on the previous limited banner. As for Ebenholtz, he's the one solo I recommend skipping if you have to save. I recommend putting more pulls into Posey or Texas later on, to be honest. Go for him if you like the theme or for collector's sake. He is great in a handful of situations for upcoming events. The Gold Certificate store and its schedule is one of the most common questions I receive. The left side units are the debuts in the Gold store. These are guaranteed and on a set schedule every 6 weeks. The right side, which I'll show you in a moment, is more speculative based on how long it's been since the previous appearance and the number of appearances. This video releases with Surtur currently in the store and Mestima on the next banner. It's hard to predict returning operators to the Gold store, so there's a lot of speculation. Let's begin with the ones that we know for certain, the guarantees. Blemishine debuts at Christmas, pairing perfectly with Mudrock, who debuts 6 weeks after her. So if you have neither and want the pair, plan ahead. Then you have Mountain, after a further 6 weeks, recommended for every account, and then Archetto, who is excellent in integrated strategies. This lineup of debuts is fantastic over the next 6 months. Now for the gold reruns. It's speculative, but I have some educated guesses. Schwartz and Shining should be within the next few banners, both medium priority. In the midterm, Blaze and Helliger are on their way. Generally, the Gold Store picks are one amongst the 4 to 6 operators most due for an appearance. So that means those you see here may swap places at random. Occasionally, as happened with Ifrit and Bagpipe, an operator due for the Gold Store appears on a standard banner as the non-purchasable operator. This bumps them right down the list, as standard banner appearances are no more frequent than every 4 months. Longer as more operators join Arknights. Bagpipe, for instance, was on a banner a month ago at a time when she should have been in the Gold Store, which was quite unfortunate. However, I believe she will reappear on a banner sooner than most and be purchasable. Remember the golden rule of standard banners. The ideal is to only buy operators with gold certificates, as these banners are the worst value. It's a 25% chance on a 6-star pull of seeing a particular focus unit. On the other hand, if it is a banner with 2 excellent 6 stars, and you need both featured operators, then it's worth pulling until you get one of them. You can think of it as a 50% chance on a 6-star pull of acquiring someone you want, like a solo banner, and if you happen to get the non-gold unit, you can then spend the certificates to buy the gold unit at the same time. And that is a look at 6 months of banners. Hope this has helped you plan your pulls. If you found this video useful, do share it around, subscribe if you're new here, and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. You can join me on Twitch, where I stream several times a week, or on our Discord server to ask for help, links below. Thank you, viewers, kindly for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.